The
Or
four that
like the
stuck out to me, and I was like,
uh
ouch, okay, Jesus, okay, all right, I'm sorry, I'll listen.
So the first question was, have you taken responsibility? So I want to ask you about like your responsibilities. You know, what responsibilities has God given
Yeah,
you
okay.
in the past or recently? Have they helped you grow as a
Well,
person?
first kind of area they talk about responsibility. I think the first thing that most people should do is take responsibility for yourself. None of us have had a perfect home. Now, some people have had really terrible, parents are doing cocaine on the kitchen table kind of stuff. Other people, they grow up in life with a silver spoon in their mouth. Mom and dad are never home. They have abandonment issues. Nobody is perfect because no home is able, how did he put it? Your family may have been good, but no home on earth can completely reflect Christ's character. Like they can reflect parts of it, but not everything. So there's always something you need to take responsibility for. And there's been areas in my life where God says, this is an area that you felt abandoned or you felt neglected, and you're filling it with this. And so I had to take responsibility to say, yes, I do feel abandoned, and this is a problem in my family. What am I going to do about it? Am I simply going to say, oh, it's just, our family culture, like it's unhealthy, but it's all I know? Or am I going to get myself to a therapist and read some books and take responsibility for my responses instead of just reacting to things? So God really, I used to have a fiery temper. I used to be hot all the time. I used to walk around mad. And again, there were things that I hadn't dealt with, and it just kind of festered. And so God had to show me, hey, why are you angry? What are you not dealing with? And it wasn't always so direct. It was just kind of like, you're angry. And just admitting, yes, I am angry, and then spending the time to allow God into that space. And that is something I think everybody should take responsibility for. You have brokenness in your life. It's not a matter of if, but what. And it's a continual process because God is infinitely holy. We can always grow. So don't just think, I have arrived, I am ready to be raptured. Nothing can be fixed or nothing can be improved upon. But I meet people and they're like, oh, it's not me. It's not my fault. It's my parents. It's my brother. It's my job. It's society. It's whatever.
Okay, so how do those things connect to, I guess, like what motivates you now? Like your responsibilities, what motivates you? Like day to day.
Day to day, yeah, I
Yeah.
think day to day I'm more motivated on holding on to the peace God has given me, because there's a lot of things that try to steal your peace every day. So for some people, you have a crazy job. I know some of you guys work with kindergarten and screaming children and parents and your bosses, and there's a lot of things that you were just like, Jesus, keep me near the cross. I have a lot of internal thinking about, I'm doing this wrong, somebody's upset with me, with that kind of fear constantly of, I'm making a mistake, I'm doing this wrong, like somebody wasn't happy with this work. And having to hold on to the thought that Jesus, God, creator, redeemer, is my provider. This job is just my employer. Don't get it twisted. And I think it took me a couple of times to really let that soak in, because I remember there was a job, I'm not going to mention the school that I used to work for, but I gave them my blood, sweat, and tears. They said jump, I was in the air. Is this high enough? I can go higher. And that was like my dream job too. I was working, I was like, I'm gonna make this work, I'm gonna make this work, I'm working overtime, just everything. And then they had a director change, and they threw me out like yesterday's trash. Because my self-esteem and self-worth was tied up in that job, when the job let me go, I was shattered. And that is one thing that God has shown me to take responsibility for, to say, every day remember, I am your provider. this job, whatever you is, however great it is, thank you, Sahmyook, I do enjoy my job here. But if Sahmyook chooses to be like, you know what, we've had structural changes, it's been real, deuces, bye, I will be okay because God is my provider. And that is something, taking responsibility for, not being bitter about old jobs, being bitter about, you know, I get all this for you. No, I didn't do anything for you. I did it for God. You were just a byproduct. So that kind of thinking about taking responsibility, holding on to peace. If God has given me everything, then I owe him the most. And I don't have to compare myself to people, you know, just kind of thinking is what I'm working on.
I love what you said about God being the provider of everything, because to me, like, it took me a while to, I guess, come to terms with that too. I'm still coming to terms, but
Takes time. It takes time.
yeah, it does. But one thing is, like, not just my job, but, you know, everything. Like, even the people in my life, like, people I love the most, they're not mine. You know, like, they don't belong to me.
They can be taken from you anytime.
Right. Like, who knows if, you know, people I love suddenly die tomorrow? Like, you don't know that. You never know.
And you can never control it.
Exactly. So after, you know, realizing that, I'm like, you know, these people don't belong to me. Nothing belongs to me. My money does not belong to me. Everything comes from God. So I guess I'm still working on it. I'm still, like, trying to process, like,
it's
what
a
that
lifetime
looks
process.
like, you know?
It's a lifetime process.
Yeah.
And every year when I take some time to look back, I can see, yes, I've grown in this area. There are other places I need to improve.
Mm-hmm.
And so don't feel like you have to get it down in like a day. It's my day-to-day thinking is, how can I show that I trust God?
Yeah.
And that means giving him my time, you know, doing devotions, reading, praying, taking care of my health, you know, is showing God that, yes, and you gave me this body, I'm going to be a good steward of it.
Mm-hmm.
So every kind of thing in my day, I think this is to show God, you know, thank you for giving me peace and joy and everything, because nobody else could give me all that you've given me.
Mm-hmm. And I think this verse that's in the slide really connects to what we said. It's in Matthew 6:33, a very popular verse. Do you want to read it? Oh, okay. It says, "But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you." So my question is, how do you think getting married with the intention of seeking first the kingdom of God, what would that look like to you? Maybe personally, like, because you said you do want to get married, right? So thinking of, like, your marriage, your future marriage, how does that connect?
I think, like, God has a way of speaking to me, say yes. And like, so earlier this year, it was this summer, and there was a certain young man that I was just googly-eyed over, you know? Like, you have at least 3 or 4 in life when you just meet them and they say hi, and you're like, and they're like,
I cannot relate to you, actually.
oh, just wait, yours is coming. Yours is coming. There's a couple times in life when you meet someone and they're just, you know, just because of the wherever you are or where they are, or you meet and you're just, I have a name, I know I do. And so when I met him, I was like coming out of like my heart being broken. Yeah, it was my own fault though. That one was literally, God was just like, here you go. And I was just like, I don't have a good reason. I was just scared. And so I was just heartbroken when that ended. He was a really good friend. He's happily married now. Very happy for the two of them. So it was like a year or two after I had that happen, I met this guy and I could not remember my name. Like, he'd come around, he'd be like, hello, and I'd just be like, and so earlier this summer, through a stream of very interesting events, we end up talking again while I'm in Korea, right? And he's back in America.
Did I meet him?
No, you didn't.
Oh.
Although, I don't know, it's a small Adventist world.
Tell me his name later.
So he talked to me, we talked a couple of times, and he was like, hey, you know, do you want to date? You know, do you want to pray about this? And I was just like, prayers have been answered. Because remember, this is the first thing the guy I couldn't speak to for months, just brain gone. And now he wants to date me. Oh, extra, oh, happiness. And he's like, okay, I just want you to pray about this, And I'm just like, sure. I'm like, my family has met you. They all like you. But we can pray. And I remember praying a couple times and just being like, just so excited, like, yes, Lord, thank you so much. But if you don't want it, it's okay. Thank you. And then like the second day and the third day came and I started calming down and God, talked to me about different things about him. And I was just like, oh, yeah, I guess this probably wouldn't be good for us long term, would it? Yeah.
Is that what God told you?
Yeah, God was just like, you can date. I'm not saying you can't, but it would not be optimally best for the two of you. And honestly, what I wanted was the best for him. He's an amazing man, and I want God's best for him, even if it's not me. And so when I had that experience, initially I was just kind of like, oh, that's really sad, but that is the point of my life. I want to walk where God is walking. And if this relationship is going to damage either of us, then I don't want that. It's going to pull me away from God. I don't know how. He was like amazing, but hearing the voice of God is probably the most important thing when it comes to marriage, because God knows what's ahead of you. I mean, if COVID has taught us anything, is that we don't know what's going to happen. So you may think, I'm going to get married to this person and our life is going to look like this. And God's like, oh, trust me on this one. He looks good and he smells good and he's amazing, but where you're going, he's not going to be good for that season of your life. So I'm bringing you to level 10. He's going to level Q. You're going to be fighting yourselves to go. So for me, it's knowing that God says, yes, move forward. I'm leading you this way. I'm leading them this way. It'll come together. And just trusting that, this guy is going to be attractive to me. It's not going to be someone that like frightens me during the night. Some people, they have this like, I don't want to let God pick the person. Like, what if I'm not attracted to them? I'm like, I think God knows what you like. It'll be okay. But sometimes we have an idea of like, he has to look like fill in the blank of said movie star.
Or we prefer a race. I know, like, I have
preferences, yeah.
I have preferred a race, like one specific race over
ethnicity.
any other race. Like, I used to.
Well, the thing is, it's really interesting you say that, because I feel like while I have a certain look, I realize that races, ethnicities, probably more accurate, kind of blend together. Because if you think of like, I could describe a man. Okay, he is tall, muscular, dark hair, dark eyes, like black hair, dark eyes. I don't know, a nice nose, kind of like mine. Mine is kind of nice. And what ethnicity could he be? He could be Korean, he could be Japanese, he could be Mexican, he could be like, all of these ethnicities are, same coloring and look. And so, and again, part of it is globalization and more people are traveling and marrying. I have met people, I'm like, so where are you from? Well, my dad, he's from India, but the northern part of India. And then my mom was from Samoa, but they came out looking Egyptian. So I feel like for me, I can't even say a certain ethnicity anymore, because even if someone says they're black, black can look, we have everything from Wesley Snipes to Meghan Markle.
Black guys. I used to.
Yeah. But that's the thing. So it's right now, it could look like anything. Yeah. And so I have certain preferences. We all know right here. Oh, no, it was a joke that we made last time about, like, I'm not really into super tall guys.
Oh, like eye level.
Well, my rule is if I'm on my tippy toes and I still can't kiss you, you're probably too tall.
Interesting.
And my reason is I busted my knee.
Trying to kiss someone?
No. No. I did gymnastics for 8 years, snowboarding, wakeboarding, all that kind of stuff. And so I hyperextended my knee. I used to love wearing heels when I was in college, and after I hyperextended my knee, I can't really wear heels anymore. So the idea of being kissed on my forehead for the rest of my life just somehow is really annoying, because I'd
They're
be
not,
too short.
I don't think they're annoying.
Really?
Yeah.
No. So yeah, my idea was just like, well, if I can still on my tippy toes, I'll be okay. But again, the Lord could heal my knee. I can marry someone 6'3" and be fine.
Yeah.
But
And even if he doesn't heal your knee, maybe,
maybe
you never know who
knee
you're gonna
surgery,
meet. You never
something.
know.
But again, I feel like God knows what I like, and if I'm honest about where we are, then God is going to provide.
Yes.
So yeah, don't be afraid to let God do the choosing, because he knows what's ahead of you.
Mm.
And you want someone that's going to stick with you, the whole way.
Yeah.
So if both of you are seeking that, then it's more likely than you're going to go further.
Mm-hmm.
Again, not my words, but the books. And I think there's a slide about that, but we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there.
So yeah, I made several adjustments in how I live, how I speak, but it's centralized on my spirituality.
Uh-huh. And would you say like these adjustments happened in recent years or just like overall?
All through it's a continual process. Like I said, when I was younger, I was really angry. And I somewhere learned in the church, like, girls aren't allowed to be angry. We're supposed to be like cute and quiet and happy all the time.
Mm-hmm. I've heard that too, but I've heard it for like specific, like it's cultural.
Yes, it is
Some
very
cultures say, like women, I know like for example, Asian culture back in the days, Korean culture, women couldn't speak out loud,
Right.
speak up for themselves. They had to
Right.
be quiet, refined. Oh, yes,
all the time.
like super submissive to men. But now, I mean,
Yeah.
times have changed.
Have you met some Italians? That's the thing. So it's an idea of having to suppress your voice for so long. You become angry. And my thing is, I can't be angry. So I would listen to like angry music and read like books about revenge and Agatha Christie and mysteries and stuff like that. And people told me you should quit. And I was like, I know, I'm trying. But if I felt angry and I couldn't let that out, I would use this as a way to like diffuse the anger. So I'm in the room screaming and jumping around to Limp Bizkit and Linkin Park and whatever. You laugh because you know what it is. So they're like hardcore like rock bands. Yeah, because it was my outlet. But then once God got into my heart and I let him see, like, you don't need to be angry because this person did you wrong. Yes, they stabbed you in the back. Yes, they kissed your boyfriend. Yes, they stole your homework. Yes, all those things happened. Don't look at me. Like, stuff happens with people that you trusted. You don't have to worry about getting even or getting revenge, or you don't have to try to do it on your own. The vengeance is mine, says the Lord. They're broken people too. I'll see that you have all you need. This idea of God is providing for me really melted all that. I have to protect myself. I have to do this for myself. I can't trust anybody. That mindset shifted to God is my provider. If someone stole money from me, I'm like, Lord, you see my bank account, okay? You're good. And once I gave that to him of having to always be so self-protective, if someone steals money from me, like, well, Lord, it was your money. You figure it out. I know I'm going to have food. You're fine. So I stopped reading the angry, mystery horrors. I stopped watching the kill movies. I stopped listening to the music because I no longer had that bitterness that I felt that I needed to get out.
So you got healing from it.
Right, I got healing, but it didn't come from my direct trying and beating myself and someone badgering me. It came because my attention shifted to the root issue. And most root issues, God is able to heal, and that will dry up all these other problems in our life, at least for me. I'm just saying for me.
Yeah. And talking about healing and, talking about like our topic of of marriage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So there was a slide in here that I wanted to show, but the devil makes marriages. People don't think about this. The devil makes marriages. If the devil can get two broken people together, he can he can do a lot of damage, emotional dysregulation to generations of people. So let's say you have a woman who, her dad was just never around. Maybe he came in, he was drunk, and he beat up on their mom or whatever. But she learned, don't trust men, because her dad was, not trustworthy. Then you have a man who his mother was very dominating. She just ran over the whole family with like a tractor. It's got to be my way. It's got to be right. Da, 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 da. I have to do everything. Then you get these two people together because they share a mutual dysfunction of my parent, blah, blah, blah. They don't heal from that. And then they bring that into their marriage. And now you have a woman, because she can't trust men to take care of her, tries to do everything in the home. And a man who grew up in a home where his mom ruled everything, he's just like, well, my wife's going to do it. And the children growing up seeing a very, like, passive dad who's not engaged, a mom who is very domineering. And so it doesn't have to be abuse or heavy-duty neglect. It's just this idea of, if I see that my dad is this way and I don't heal from that, I'm going to carry that into my marriage. And it can go either way. You can have a very active parent. You can have a very passive parent of either gender. And unless you take time to like take stock of, where did I learn my behavior from? What did I see in my home that I want to replicate? What do I see that I don't? What would be a better way? A lot of people never do this. And so what they do is they carry that dysfunction, get married either to that dysfunction. You know, you see a passive man in your family, you're going to marry someone passive unless you address it, or vice versa. And all of these are things that you have wounds that are open, and it like attracts like. So people that are angry at their parents, that don't want anything to do with their family, they're probably going to find someone who's angry at their parents, has nothing to do with their family.
So I have a question. So everyone has issues, you know, like everyone has insecurities, some issues, and maybe it comes from like their broken home or whatever experience
It
they
doesn't
had.
always be home. It could be
Right.
like your school that you went to.
Like friendships,
Right.
different things. So do you think that two people, let's say they both have issues, do you think they should get married before they fix their issues, or can they get married and then?
Well, I feel like it depends on what the issue is. Now, some issues they can say, I recognize my parents were not perfect. I've gone to therapy. I read books. I stay on top of this. And just know this is a soft spot in my life. Like, if you're going to press, just press lightly, knowing that it's there. Now, would you want to be in a relationship who's someone who has an active addiction to cocaine because they have issues? Maybe you don't want to marry the second guy because he may acknowledge I have a problem. But marrying a drug addict, you know, and it could be any kind of addict. It can be a workaholic, it can be a shopaholic, a gambling, it could be anything. Anything you're trying to self-medicate. So I feel like it depends on what the issue is. It depends on what kind of marriage you want to have. It depends on where you are in the process of healing. So, I think whether or not you get married, you should have community. There is a lot of healing that can happen just from being in community. Some people think, and nothing meaning the church, but not to be mean about the church, but sometimes we sing, oh, just as I am, come. But then when people try to come with their problems, they say, oh, no, you need to keep that over there. You know, keep it out, keep it, you know, under wraps. And so people self-medicate. Now, there are some quote unquote like church-approved self-medications. Like, oh, they just spend all their time at church while they neglect their family. Or they, you know, shop a lot instead of whatever, you know? So everyone is self-medicating if they aren't dealing with the issue. And sometimes it happens simultaneously. You can self-medicate and deal with the issue. So it really just depends on what it is and where are you in the process. Do you feel like you can move forward with this person? Is God saying like you've made progress? You've made as much progress alone as you can. Now the next layer of healing is going to be with a partner. So you really, it has to be something where you recognize God's voice is saying, yes, you made it to this level, now move forward together.
Yeah, and I guess also like how motivated are you and your
Right.
partner to heal as well. So the third question, we already covered the first two. The third question is, have you laid a proper foundation? So I'm gonna ask you, how do you make decisions in life? First of all, what personality are you, and how do you make decisions based on your personality?
Define personality. Because there's a lot of different types of personalities. I'm like MBTI,
MBTI, yeah, MBTI.
I'm not as familiar with that one. I think I'm an INTJ.
You're an I?
I'm an I.
What?
I'm a heavy duty I. I'm a social introvert.
Okay.
So I love being around people. I love talking and helping, but I have to plan. So I have people energy, and when it's gone, I'm gone.
Uh-huh.
So knowing that I had to do this tonight, I spent the last like 24 hours by myself.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Had to store up the people energy.
I can't do that.
Really?
I'm around people every day.
Oh, no, I worked, stayed at home. Hello, how are you? I'm back in I was like, I got a good 24 hours of people. So I'm naturally an introvert. I know myself. I can tell when I'm getting low on people energy. I know what rejuvenates me.
Yeah.
And it actually took me a long time to figure that out, because sometimes I'd just be like, I'd spontaneously start crying. I have a lot of extroverted friends, and they would be going all day, like 12 hours. We're going to go shopping. And like, I was just done, and I just sat down and started crying. And they were just like, what's wrong? And I couldn't even tell them because I didn't know myself. I didn't know what triggers I had, positive or negative. So I think for everybody, spend some time getting to know yourself. What is your personality? Not you have to read a certain book, but just think about what motivates me, what triggers me in a bad way, what triggers me in a good way. Like apples, I'm always happy. Just applesauce, apple anything, It's kind of a happy food for me. Being in nature, that's a happy thing. Listening to music, it's happy. Just kind of just knowing yourself so that when you are with other people, not even married yet, just when you're with other people, being able to verbalize and say, hey, I need a break. I need to eat something. I need to just walk by myself. I'm not mad at you guys. I just need a little time to, rejuvenate, right? So with extroverted friends, it took them a while to figure out, like, okay, Nicole's not mad at us. She just needs a little bit of, like, alone time. Some of my friends were good. They were like, we have to feed her. I can see the glaze. So being able to know yourself in that way, to say, this is what's good for me, and being able to grow and change, create new hobbies, explore new things. Be like, I tried mountain biking. It's not for me, but I tried it. And again, give yourself these experiences. Try new things, learn languages, travel, yes. Learn yourself, and if you're with another person, we talk about hibernating.
Yes.
People that they're friends, they start dating and they just, you don't see them. They're only with the couple until they break up, and then they're back, and you're like,
yeah. And now they want you back.
So, having
I don't take them back. I don't take them back.
I talk about it.
I
try to talk about it. I don't just glaze over. I talk about it, okay? But yeah,
especially when it's your family member. That's when it's like,
ouch.
Because it's not like, I'm not going to be like, I'm not going to take you back, if you're my family member, but it's hard.
It is.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. It's a thing about if you build the whole community, not just, I'm going to go from one relationship to another.
Yeah.
So
in your opinion, do you think that you have laid a proper foundation for marriage?
It depends on the kind of marriage.
Like, if you were to get married next year, and next year is coming very soon, so if that
you
were
got
to
a month and a week. Go. January 2nd.
If that were to happen, like, do you think you have laid a proper foundation for it?
It would really depend on the guy. Only because, like, if I know this person and we're cool, yeah, because we know you. If I'm going to meet someone tomorrow, and like, okay, you got to get married next year. Ooh, okay, that's a little.
What if you meet someone and you're like, I really want to marry this person, and
if God said yes, then I could.
Okay.
But for me as an introvert, I am like double check, triple check. I need 2 ravens and maybe a homing pigeon to make decisions. So it'd have to be very clear that God's like, I need you to go this way, and this person's gonna be with you, and this is of me. Okay, cool. I feel like if I was sure that God was, well, God's never 100%. God's like 80% because there's faith in there. Yes, I feel like I could, but it would really have to be clear from God. And I feel like this year with the Mr. Wonderful, who God was like, you can, it's not going to be great for you. I feel like, okay, so I can hear from God when God says no. And so that gives me comfort knowing that I'm not just going to run off with any Tom, Dick, or Harry and just be like, oh, he's cute. Bye,
You know what? What you just said, that spoke to me because I'm going to share a really short story. There was this guy. I was so into him. This was 2 years ago. How old was I? 18. Young. I was 18. And I was so into this guy. I'm telling you.
There's always 1 or 2 in your life that you are just like, hey.
Because, first of all, he was really tall, really, really tall. He
180?
Oh, over. He was almost 190, like 80, 87. Oh. He was very musical, had perfect pitch, and I'm into those musical people because I'm just into that. Yeah. He could sing, he could play piano. I was like, am I better than you? Are you better? Like, it was fun. He played a lot of instruments. He spoke like 4 languages.
Oh, now you're talking.
And I'm a language person too.
Ooh, yes.
Like we had so much in common.
Tell me he had brown eyes.
He had brown eyes.
Yes.
He was Korean. And I was like, and his fashion style was just on point, Like everything that he did, it was everything that I did, but he was just better at it. And that's what attracted me. I was like, you are better at things that I am already interested in, and I am so attracted to that. And he was funny on top of it. Like, it was just a lot of stuff. So I prayed one night. I was like, God, if there is anything I need to know about this person, please show me. Like, reveal it to me.
Oh, that's a good prayer.
Yeah. Like, because I liked him so much. I was like, I'm about to propose. I really was. And I've never been the type of girl who's like, let me tell him first. I'm always like, no, I'm over here. You come to me. But this time I was like, maybe I should tell him. But I was like, I need to pray about this. So I asked God, I was like, God, if there's anything about him I need to know, let me know. Because I'm about to propose to him. And
I'm about to buy this ring. Put a ring on it.
The next day, I found out he is bisexual. And let me tell you, if that wasn't an answer from God, personally, I cannot be with someone who is bisexual. Like, that's just me. I cannot do it. And I found that out. I wasn't even trying to find something. I was just like, I just prayed. I don't know when God is going to reveal this. He revealed it to me that very next day.
Because he knew you were going to get a ring.
Yeah, exactly. But when I found that out, I was like, wow, thank you, Jesus, for doing this. And honestly, to this day, I couldn't be more thankful.
Right.
I could not be more thankful.
That reminds me of a story. I met a guy, and I think it set me straight from like when I was a kid. I was in some kind of high school summer elite education program. And I met the man of my dreams. He was, I was what, 15? This one wasn't one of the 3 where I was just like, no. But he was perfect height. He had that like snaggletooth smile. He was awesome. He was super smart. Like you said, he was better than me. So we were science partners. I think my math was lower than his, so he was in the high class, but we were in high in everything else. And I remember meeting him and being like, I'm ready. I'm going to get married to this man. He went to a sister church. And later on, I found out he was dating someone. I was just like, lucky girl. Oh, man. So I was like, well, amen, be happy. And I ran into him the next year. And, I was, oh, hey. How is life? How are you? How's that girlfriend? Oh, which girlfriend? Oh, so-and-so. Oh, she was like 6 girls ago. Okay, nice to see you, bye. Because just that kind of way of speaking about women was a complete, like that, the everything, that beautiful snaggletooth, the eyebrows, the buff, whatever, like all of that didn't matter anymore because of how he saw women. They're disposable. And so ever since then, I mean, I was 13, 14 at the time, it really set a course in how I saw men from then. Because I mean, I would meet a guy, okay. I got to know him, I'm like, oh, he is awesome. And then I meet other guys, I'm like, no, okay. Oh, that's how you, okay. So it really normalized like how people look on the outside isn't who they are on the inside. And there is always things to learn about people. And so it's really good to have those prayers of like, Lord, if there is something I need to know or something they need to know, because maybe
it's me.
Maybe
you
it's
know?
me. Yeah, maybe they're like, I'm not trying to be with someone who is trying to speak 10 languages. I ain't the one. I'm trying to get my Korean, Spanish, Esperanto, Italian, Japanese, and Chinese, but it's something that it's really important to me. So it's really good to have those prayers. It's really good feeling that you know God has said no, and it's a really good feeling to know God has said yes. And so the earlier you can identify these, making big decisions about spouse or children or job or church becomes a lot easier because you know I've heard God, I believe he's leading me this way, and you just have peace about it.
Yeah, I agree. And like we've both said, I mean, physical attraction, based on what we've said, physical attraction is necessary, in my opinion, it's necessary. But it's, if I had a whole long list, like it's way down here for me, for sure.
I think in the book he talked about, it's like having a new car. Have you ever driven like a Camaro or something? Like when you put the key in.
I don't drive, so, but I can imagine. I can only imagine.
Okay, hear in your mind the sound of a Camaro. When you turn the key in that first vroom. I drive a Standard. That's why they call it the Standard. Everyone should drive a Standard. That first sound is the fire and the pistons that get the car moving. Now, to sit there in a car and continually put the car in the ignition and turn it and then turn it off and turn it is the equivalent of getting in a new relationship, starting it, stopping it, and then getting in another car, starting it, stopping it. That's not what cars are made for. You're supposed to put buy the car, drive it off the lot, go places, do things. And so what sustains a marriage, he was saying in the book, is other things that you don't think about. When you walk into a car lot, you're looking at, oh, which is the shiniest, pretty car in here? What has the nicest rims? Whereas like, what's the gas mileage? How much is it gonna cost to repair this thing? What's the engine like? Is it diesel? What fuels it? How hard is it to keep it clean? All the same things that you would think about in a relationship. What is it going to maintain? Most people are thinking, oh, I want to get married. My question is, can you maintain a marriage? And that's something that he really brings up in the book is, if you're going to climb Mount Everest, are you going to go with your friend who sits on the couch and you watch movies and eat potato chips with? Or are you going to take the person who
I would go with Karen.
Yeah, right, Karen's right. Because you know you're going to make it to the top and down.
Yeah.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. When we think about what kind of person, what character is this person? The person that eats potato chips and sits on the couch and watches movies and we laugh together, we have a relationship. I can't climb Mount Everest with this person. They can't make it to the fridge without running out of breath. It's from the book. It's not me. It's from the book. It's from the book. But the person maybe, they don't like the same movies. They don't, I don't know, whatever, like you're saying, potato chips or whatever. But they go to the track 6 nights or 6 days a week, and they have the endurance, and you're going to go hiking with them. And the same thing is he's in marriage. You want the person who can endure, that they have things in their life to show how are they with money, how are they with their time, what do they value, what fuels them. And so when we date, we actually date wrong. We date for fun, but not all of marriage is fun. And so in the book, he really goes into detail about marriage is like Mount Everest. It takes endurance. It's worth it. God wants most of us to get married unless you have a special calling. But are you in shape? Are they in shape to take this journey with you? So I think our time is... Yeah.
I think so.
So yes, this is a kind of a plug if you guys wanting to read this book, The Sacred Search. Please contact me. Spread the word. I'm thinking about starting it maybe next month. When
A book club, right?
a book club,
Yes.
kind of just to do this book. There's tons of other books and videos, on YouTube, on Facebook, podcasts. There's so much information. I feel like we don't talk about it in the church enough, but I've had to go quite a bit digging to kind of think for myself, well, why do I want to get married? Is it just for the likes? Is it just for pictures? I've actually had friends who are getting divorced now and getting remarried. And their first marriages look very, very different from their seconds. However, I don't want a scorecard to keep up with how many people I have to do life with to have a better marriage. I just want to, one time, this kind of thing. And so I was led to this book by a friend. Now she's married and having a wonderful marriage. I would definitely want her marriage. Not exactly. I'm just saying, like, the way that they met and it progressed and it was very happy and God-led, and you could see God's leading. I want other people to have that, but I think it's just really good to discuss with other people, especially guys. We had a lot of guys in our group that gave really good insights to how men look at marriage and how women look at marriage.
Yeah, we need guys up here talking about
Yes,
this.
come guys, come and talk.
We need more guys in
Period.
the church, first of all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the book goes into like why men are not in church, because what church has become. I mean, think about Jesus. It was him and a bunch of dudes and like a few women running around chasing the men. And now it's really kind of different. Not chasing that way, but yeah. You hear about a lot of men who follow Jesus, the women there also. But it was very much a man's man kind of belief and movement. And it's not what I see today in many of the churches. So, yeah, I would love to have men come, speak on their thoughts on relationships, marriage. But yeah, it was a really great book. I highly recommend it to everyone. And for those of you who are already married, there is a book called The Sacred Marriage that he wrote first. So.
Okay, well, thank you, Nicole, for sharing everything. I learned a lot. I had a lot of fun.
Yes.
So to close out this Vespers, would you like to pray?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you, God, for being with us, for giving us just everything as our provider and helping us to see that you want the very best for us and that nothing is lost in your kingdom. Anything that you allow can be redeemed if we surrender it to you. And I just ask for a blessing on all the people here, that whether they are single or married or somewhere in between, that they will first turn to you and allow you to heal them and just have it be a continual process of growth and hope and joy. I thank you so much for this Sabbath. Thank you for this time with Michelle to just talk and laugh. And thank you so much for your love and your promise and the knowledge of you. In your name, amen.
Well, thank you, everyone, for showing up for today. And I will see you guys next week.
Thank you, Peanut Gallery. You guys made it. I love you. I need to have,